Okay guys, here we are. We have made it to the really cool and the new location for the McLaren house this year for Car Week, and we're joined with James, team principal with McLaren in the Hypercar right behind me. I'd love if you can give us a quick tour of some of the really cool just features that the team is proud about with this new Hypercar, and also like behind the scenes on the whole concept of people being able to get behind the wheel themselves. It's really fascinating because the performance of these things are so high, you know, in comparison to like the street McLarens, which they're already so fast. Like I know because I have my own, and I've really enjoyed the process. But if you don't mind, I'd love if we could talk about that.
Yeah,
sound good?
Sure, Ross. Well, firstly, it's great to be here showing you our latest creation. This is the McLaren MCL HY, and it's our all-new hypercar. As you probably know, McLaren is coming back. We're coming back to the pinnacle of sports car racing, and that's the new hypercar category, which completes in the World Endurance Championship, which includes Le Mans, and of course in IMSA and GTP. So this is the pinnacle of sports car racing, the Formula One of sports car racing, if you want to kind of put it that way. And these cars are incredible. You know, over 220 miles an hour at Le Mans, cornering at 4G. You know, they are incredible cars. But you know, they'll do 220 miles an hour for 24 hours. They're not just fast. It's about reliability, durability as well. So true test of machine and human when we look at our biggest races. So huge performance car. As you can see, a lot of McLaren DNA built into the design of this car. We're optimizing performance. We're optimizing, obviously, aerodynamic compromise between downforce and minimizing drag. You've got to have a great power to weight. You have to have great essentialization of mass. You have to have great COG, getting the weight nice and low down in the car. So all about optimizing ultimate performance. I'm
noticing McLaren, like right here, the logo, it blends kind of with the headlight. I kind of see the shape of the McLaren logo from this side angle a little bit. Maybe I'm far-fetched with it, but
you're absolutely right. And across the car, we'll talk to some of the detail. What's really interesting now about the category, to be really clear, is we can't just design the car exactly purely for racing. We have to make sure our DNA is in the car. That's actually formally part of the regulations. So as you'll see across the car, a number of cues. The headlights, you'll recognize those from McLaren Senna, that similar style, a clear face of the car, which is very, very identifiable McLaren. If we took the badge off, I'm sure most people would immediately see McLaren in its DNA.
How about on like the side profile view? If you walk around,
come look at the side profile. These fences, we call them, are very reminiscent of McLaren Can-Am cars. So we have them on the front, we have them on the rear. They really are a clear representation of that similar bit of DNA you see from McLaren design. The other thing, if we come to the back of the car, what I would say is this increasing line, this kind of power haunch of the car, is reminiscent of things what you see in McLaren F1 with those power lines on the car. Those are kind of key attributes that you've seen on a number of McLaren over the years. A car which has almost some tension standing still, and that's true of all good sports cars as well, right? That power stance, if you like. On the side of the car, in the back of the car, actually we have this area here, which is a cutout, which is very reminiscent of the W1, where the wing comes in. Now, we actually want to kind of make sure some of these details look similar, but everything you see on the car from a design point of view has to add performance. So nothing was added just for the sake of pure aesthetic. It's got to be function first, but also maintaining that form of that DNA. So yeah, an incredible blend of importance between getting the optimizing the downforce and minimizing the drag, but also getting the DNA of the car clear.
I'm curious, has the team learned anything from the experience developing and making other extreme race cars that customers can buy? Like the Solus GTs is a good example, right? That was an incredibly capable car. I know this is a totally different direction because you can race this, but
you always learn, is the truth, right?
Okay.
And we can go back to the history books on the best hypercars to road. All their aerodynamic attributes come from racing. If you look at something like the latest W1, active wings, you have active wings in Formula One. Ground effect, you have ground effect from Formula One and from sports car racing. How you optimize the top speed of the car, minimizing drag, but then have corner efficiency and performance. So it's all learned, and that's just the aero. If I add in things like the systems and the controls on car nowadays, ABS, traction control, all these things were first developed in racing, and then ultimately they have a benefit of being safer for the road, but also more effective for the road as well, for customers to get the most out of the performance of their car. Actually, in racing, we want to make the car as easy to drive because it reduces the amount of errors that can get made behind the wheel. The easier the car is to drive, the easier it is to drive faster for longer. So there's a real synergy between race cars and between road cars.
What's the factory support like? Because I know with this platform, people can actually find themselves getting one.
Yeah.
What is the factory support like? Like, what does that entail down the road? Like, what is typical experience if someone was to get involved from like the outside?
So what you see here is one of 2 test cars for our, like I said, return as a factory team to top tier sports car racing. McLaren is the only race team that competes in Formula 1, Hypercar and our IndyCar. It's what we call the Triple Crown of motorsport.
Yep, I remember that.
Now, what's quite unique about this program is, in addition to our race cars, we are making 35 track variants for customers to drive on track days. As part of that, it includes a 2-year program of 12 days of basically track driving, but track driving a top tier, top category sports car. So, you know, if you think about it in this context, in a 2-car team, you have 6 drivers that will drive this. More people have been to the moon, you know, almost than that. So actually, it's a very exclusive, but it's an amazing opportunity to drive an incredible kind of top tier car. So that's the program which we're offering, and it's something which we're really passionate about. And I think true sports car fans, people who want to drive the ultimate expression of a sports car on track, it doesn't get any better than this top tier category car.
So how would lap times compare with this? Like, how much faster is this versus like a Solus GT?
Honestly, it's hard to say exactly.
Question.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, obviously, ultimately, the Hypercar is faster by some way.
Yeah.
This is a car purely designed for racing, purely designed for optimizing performance, cornering performance, but also it's an endurance car, so running for 24 hours. But this is an incredibly fast car. Yeah, you're talking a few seconds of that, probably quicker. Something like Le Mans, even maybe a bit more. But yeah. This is as good as it gets, but the Sound Like Solus is an amazing car.
Oh no, I think it's
incredible.
Fantastic.
Yeah, what an amazing car as well. So yeah, we're lucky. We're Broadchurch, right? But you know, not only do we have amazing road cars and the likes of 750, new W1, of course, but then you know, racing-wise, this joins a stable of some incredible kind of family of cars.
I know you're pointing out like some of the green elements, right? Do you mind if you touch base on that real quickly too?
The livery is, of course, McLaren Racing, you expect it to be papaya, but this car is inspired by the background as to why we're coming back to the top tier sports car racing. So Bruce McLaren, yes, McLaren's famous for Formula 1, but Bruce McLaren had a dream to race at Le Mans. Of course he did, and he won in the Ford GT in '66, but actually he wants to race in with the car with his own badge. Unfortunately, he never realised that. But the McLaren M6 Can-Am car that he raced was in the papaya livery, and this livery is a homage to that livery of that car. Why? Because the M6, he turned into the M6 GT, which actually we have here today as well.
Yes.
And his goal was to drive that car at Le Mans. Unfortunately, he died before he had chance. So we want to honour Bruce by testing this year in the livery, which is inspired by the car he wanted to race at Le Mans. And we'll obviously evolve this to our final race livery next year, but it's an homage to Bruce. So the livery is what he had in his Can-Am car. Things like the number 4, looks like it's in black or grey, it's actually green. His colour was originally green. The windscreen has this green tint, so we've kind of done the same for the test car this year.
The chrome?
The wing mirrors were chrome on his Can-Am car, so we've done them in chrome wrap here on the race car as well.
That's a nice touch.
Things like chrome rims on the wheels, we've done them as well. So yeah, real homage to Bruce, our iconic founder. He achieved amazing things in sport. He was an amazing driver, an amazing engineer, and our goal for McLaren Racing is to absolutely, we're very proud to be reigning Formula 1 World Champions.
Yes.
We're now also the only racing team that competes for the Triple Crown. McLaren's the only race team that's ever won the Triple Crown.
And they even had the Triple Crown 750S. Remember seeing that not too long ago.
Yeah, so Triple Crown, for those who don't know, is Monaco Grand Prix, Le Mans 24 Hours, and Indy 500. McLaren's the only team to ever win all 3, and we want to do it in what we call the papaya era. So that's the
That'll
ambition.
be really cool.
Yeah.
You know what? A few last questions for you. So, how much horsepower again does like the Hypercar usually run?
Over 700 horsepower.
Over 700. Yeah. And then for weight figures, what do these account usually for?
So the cars are basically 30 kilos.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for this quick walk around. It's fantastic. Actually, speaking to someone so prominent who's part of the team, and I can tell how much of an enthusiast you are. Then we have Neil in the background. He's a great guy, and he helped me spec my 750S. If you wave to the camera. Thank you for that. But thanks for coming on camera with me. It was great talking about it.
Great to be here.